All right, this is your creation. My name is Starseed Bey. How's everyone doing today? Um, Definitely a lot going on as always. Um, just a lot of stuff to talk about, really is. But one of the most important things that I really want to talk about today is what is that light within us? What sparks that light when we discover that Christ energy or that Christ within us? And what do we do to develop that, spiritually, um emotionally? Um we got to explore our physical body, our mind body, our spiritual body, and our emotional body, right? The four bodies. We have to look into these aspects when we go within ourselves. When we go within ourselves, Christ said, I am the way, truth, and life. No one goes to the Most High except through me. So we have to go within ourselves, and do an own inner reflection, right? We have to go into that state of darkness, that sacred place, that set apart place. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be looking and focusing on, and this is the main part of the video, is focusing on once we turn that light on, where do we go from there? Where do we go from there? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let me go ahead and plug my stuff, and then we'll get started. So if this is your first time watching me, I am on YouTube. So definitely like, subscribe. I have a lot of different content on there. Spiritually, looking into the world, and looking at different other aspects of life. So definitely like and subscribe, and go from there. I'm also on Facebook. I got a public site at Real Talk. I'm Starseed Bey. So definitely like the page, share out, and go from there. Hey, how's it going, John? And I'm also on Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Adam Starseed Bey, and definitely check me out as well on there. So yeah, man. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and the spirit just really wasn't telling me to make it until today. And there's so much we can go with this element here. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this here, and then we'll get going. This should be definitely an interesting video because it can definitely go a lot of ways. All right, so let me find it here. All right, so this one really kind of stuck out to me, and we're going to kind of go from this. So this is Romans 8:24 through 30. For in this hope we were saved, but hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. In the same way, the Spirit or spirits help us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit or spirits himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And he who searches our hearts knows the mind of the spirits. Because the spirits intercedes for the Most High's people in accordance with the will of the Most High's. And we know that in all things the Most High's or Christ works for the good of those who love him or them, who have been called according to his purpose. For those the Most High's foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his sons and daughters, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. And those he justified, he also glorified. For those, and that's beautiful. So I'll go ahead and add on that. Those who hear the calling have a destiny, have a purpose. But not everyone continues with that calling. And I talked about this before. The ringing of the ears, the spirits are calling, that Christ is being born within you. But not many people continue with that journey. I heard the calling in 2010. I heard the calling when I was born, right? I talked about my experience since I've been 2 years old. There's just been something that has, there was a light that was shining as I was growing up. I didn't know it at the time, but there was a path that was being laid out for me, a predestined path. And we all have a predestined path, but there's so many crossroads in life, right? The representation of the crossroads within our lives. There's 4 paths that we can choose. But here's the key thing, is you want to stay balanced. We can adventure into these 4 paths, and that's what I talked about before. We got the physical path, we got the spiritual path, we got the mind path, and we got the emotional path. We have to go down each of those 4 roads and journey and explore into ourselves more. But we have to go back to that center point, and that is that balance point. Hey, how's it going, Talea? Into that balance point, and we have to go back. That's why I've been so straightforward in talking about finding a foundation in your life, finding a go-to home place within your life. Because if you don't have a go home to place, you're gonna get lost on that path. You're gonna come across climbing a mountain and then falling down, and you're gonna get lost. You're gonna go, oh crap, I lost my way. I lost my way in life. Where do I go? Where do I go from here? That's where you have to find a foundation. Christ is that foundation. Christ is that center point in your life. Nothing to do with religion. Nothing to do with religion. And for those who stick with that path spiritually, will discover, that energy, that divine source, that Mashiach energy. So yeah, it gets real deep, man. It gets real deep. And we all have to hear that calling. And we've been called before. 2010 was my calling, and I'm stuck with that path. We're in perceived 2018 right now. So I've been sticking with this path for 8 years, and will continue to do so. It's an ever-going path of learning, development of self, discipline, and just paying attention to the signs. Paying attention to the signs, whether it be up in the heavens, down on the ground, or just the people or the spirits and souls that we interact with daily. It all goes to a divine source, a divine presence. So when we have to conquer all this stuff, we have to conquer self first. Period. We have to conquer self first. And it can be a journey that can last your whole lifetime. It can last your whole lifetime. And sometimes we have to go through multiple lifetimes to discover this. Talea says, yeah, real deep. We're going to have to get our boots out. We're going to have to get our boots out. Yep. Yeah, you're going to have to get your hiking boots. You're going to have to get a backpack, full of the essentials that you need for this journey. Because if you just put flip-flops on, get shorts on, and a tank top on, and you continue hiking up this mountain, and the higher up the mountain you go, the colder it gets. And winter will hit these mountains. So, you're going to end up dying because all you got is flip-flops on and shorts and a tank top. So you ain't going to survive. So you got to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and have that mindset, right? Have that mindset to continue on. And I just lost my lid for my water bottle, so I have to make sure I don't spill my water bottle. So yeah, man, it gets real deep. So what am I talking about with discovering that light? Discovering that light within us. And how do we grow? I've been hinting at this for a while now within my videos. That once we turn that light on, we have to start developing our energy within us. Harnessing the energy within us. Because if we don't, we live in a vampire type world, and someone's going to be sucking out the energy out of us constantly, daily. Sometimes when we get off work, we feel real tired, we feel real drained. And a lot of times that can mean that our energy is being drained out of our bodies. And we don't want that. We don't. Um, it depletes us. And it gets so deep on so many levels, especially around new moon, when the new moon takes place or when the full moon takes place. Uh, we can feel drained, we can feel tired. A lot of times we need to go into that sacred place during those times because there's a lot of rituals that are taking place. And for those who don't keep their shields up, who are not aware of these rituals, a lot of people think these rituals are just bogus and just conspiracy theory stuff. But rituals happen daily. The elite show their rituals on TV daily, and they make jokes about it. Ha 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 ha. We do these rituals. Ha 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 ha. Whatever. Ha 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 ha. They make jokes all the time about the rituals they do. You see it through talk shows. You see it through Saturday Night Live. You see it through all these shows all the time that they make jokes to confuse the people. And that's what I revealed last video, was talking about Babylon, or the real Hebrew word Babel, which translates into confused, a confused state of being. We're living in Babylon. The world is living in Babylon, which is a state of confusion, a state of confusion. Nobody knows what's real. Nobody knows what's the truth. A lot of people are living in their own truth, but without a steady foundation. They're living just by their own personal faith, or let alone just believing in something and not going into that state of being. John says, yeah, that's crazy, man. Subliminarily. Holy cow. Big word, man, big word. But it's man, it's crazy, man. It really is. And we get into such a state of confusion. Again, we lose our will and intent. We lose our energy through this chaos. And that's why, that scripture of, do not live by the ways of the world, for it will confuse you. It will confuse you. It will deceive you. It will lead you off path. And again, I go back to Revelations. All shall be deceived in the end. All shall be deceived within the end. Because humanity is living by human doctrine. Not going within the spirit. Not going within self. That's why, I give I give a lot of respect to the Buddhas, because they do teach you to go within self, But that's all the journey is going within self. We also have to deal with what's going outside ourselves as well. We have to allow that light to shine to the world too. We can't just keep it all to ourselves. We can't. But it just depends on what kind of level you're going to. Because at the end of the day, we have to rise up our energy. And the only way we can do that is to pray and meditate. Walk with God or Christ. Talk with Christ. Talk with the spirits. But we also have to do energy work. So let me talk about energy work before I get distracted here. Because that's the main focus of this video. Energy work. What is energy work? How do we apply it to our daily lives? How can we harness energy in our daily lives? This involves magic. And magic is not something bad, because magic we do daily. Whether it be through words, whether it be through interactions with people, as well as working with the spirits daily. We're surrounded by spirits. We work with spirits daily. Be it positive spirits, negative spirits, neutral spirits. We deal with them daily, and they help us through our daily lives. The power of discerning the spirits. What kind of spirits are you working with? So when you're dealing with energy work, you're dealing with spirits, and you're raising that frequency up, just like I did energy work yesterday. I was rising the energy up from the ground, building that energy around me and surrounding me. And it's hard to explain, but energy work is key. Energy work is key. Learning how to use your chi energy or your kai energy is key. And where all the energy is harnessed is within that stomach, when you inhale, you're inhaling the ether that surrounds you. So like myself, when I'm doing my meditation out in the sun, that's what I'm doing. I'm breathing in that energy, but I'm not breathing it out. I am storing it within to my stomach. I'm inhaling it and lowering it into my belly. And every time you inhale in through your nose, you want to allow it to go back into your stomach because you're building that energy. And after that, you want to create a spiral motion in your stomach. And you have the ability, and this takes practice now. And like I said, you have to do the practice and you have to do the work. Don't take my word for it. I'm just talking about how I do it. Once you start focusing the energy through meditation, you have to have that spiral motion in your stomach, and you have to move that chi energy. So you're building that chi energy within your stomach, and the goal is to spread the energy out. It has to go somewhere. You're harnessing it in, and you have to spread it out. Like say, for example, you turn on the water faucet outside, right? You're getting ready to water your lawn. So like, for example, I got like 4 hoses connected, and you turn on each hose, right? You turn on each hose, so the water is going to flow out in a certain area. Or you could turn all 4 of them on, and it's going to branch out into different areas of the yard, and that's what you're doing. So every time you're using your breathing techniques, you're building the energy up in, and just continuing breathing all that ether in. And then you got to turn it on. You got to turn your body on. So with the stomach being that main energy, you got to start flowing it in, so you can turn it on and allow the energy to shoot downwards into your feet. You got to shoot the energy upwards through your arms and through your head, right? And that's the 4 main waters, right? Your feet is 1. You got the arms, that's 2. You got the head, that's 3. And then you got the heart, or the will and intent, that's 4. So you're shooting out those currents of energy, but you're shooting it into a field and a barrier because you don't want to lose the energy that you're harnessing. It's like a waterfall. I'm trying to use analogies because it's really hard to explain. So as a whole, when you're shooting those energies out, those 4 currents, it's also utilized as a waterfall. So as a waterfall, or a water fountain, I guess I should use a water fountain, right? The water's shooting out, and then it goes back out into the stream, right? It goes back out to a stream. And if you know how a water fountain works, it recycles that water in the stream. So it shoots out, it goes back into the stream, goes back up through the waterfall again, and then it continues on. And that's the kind of energy work you have to be using, because you got a barrier that surrounds you, so you got that flow of energy. So it's flowing through the top of your head, and it's flowing through the heart center, your will and intent. So you're constantly creating that shield, and that's how you're building your energy, because it's a constant flow of energy. And you want to make sure that that the barrier doesn't have any holes in it, because it just like with anything, whether it be a pool or a tube, an inner tube, if there's a hole in there, same with a car, you got a hole in your tire, eventually the air is going to go out, and you're going to go flat, or stuff can go in. Stuff can go into your barrier, which is where, you know, you can get um, these attachments, you know, like I've been talking about. You know, you'll feel that state of anxiety, you feel that state of fear or doubt. You know, you're getting a presence of some kind, and it's trying to leech onto you. So if you have a hole within your barrier, it's going to get in there. And once that spirit gets into your barrier, then you're going to have to learn on um, how to let that spirit out of your barrier. You know, that's through cleansing, that's through forgiveness, and that's knowing that where that connection came to, and send it back. You know, that spirit attached to you, but that spirit's also attached to the source that it originated from. And this stuff is deep, man. It's so hard to explain with this stuff, but it needs to be talked about. It does. So so you gotta send that energy and that spirit back to that person, but you can send a prayer and healing to that spirit, because it's a spirit. It's a spirit that has been formed from that person. So you got to send that spirit back. Be like, all right, spirit, you attached to me. I'm mature about it. And and I'll get to something here in a second. So I'm mature about it. I realize that you're a spirit. You're interested in me. But I'm going to send healing and prayer to you. Spirit, I send you back to that person that you originated from. And spirit, I need you to help that person learn how to heal and forgive. Learn what you learned from me. You know, you can guide these spirits back. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. So obviously I'm talking about something good here. So send that spirit back. That spirit is intelligent. It's like, oh, okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my person, and I'm going to go and teach them what I learned from you. And then go from there. And it's amazing, man. It really is. Once you learn on how spirits are interacting with us, they're curious about us, just like a puppy, you know, is curious about us, you know, or a dog. Hey, you know, pay attention to me, you know, pet me, you know, I want to learn more about you, right? You know, that's what these spirits are too. You know, they're curious about us. They're curious about us, but they're also, these spirits can be parasites and leech on to you. And you just begin to feed these spirits, you know, and that's what I said before, you know, that only 10% of humanity is spiritually aware, is spiritually awakened, but 90% of them are spiritually dead. I learned something about, and it just gets so deep, but there's some more hidden symbolisms with the word dead, as well as ancestors. I'm doing a lot of research, and it's probably going to be quite a while before I talk about it, but there's so much to talk about with all of these words. It's insane. So let me not get distracted. Let me got it. La 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 la. Can't talk now. Let me get a drink of water here. So with spirits, they surround us daily. So with 90% of people who are spiritually dead, they're allowing these spirits to surround them and suck the energy out of them. And they continue to grow. These spirits continue to grow. And when they interact with other people who are also spiritually dead, they begin to feed upon each other as well. So these spirits create more pacts with each other, and they just kind of mingle in with people's affairs. So like when people do, like when they drink alcohol, or they're doing drugs, or some kind of nature like that, some kind of aspect like that, these spirits can leech on. You know, these spirits are hanging out at the bars. You know, these spirits are hanging out when there's big gatherings of parties, you know, that have drugs and alcohol involved. They're just chilling, waiting to attach to these people, you know, and that's why you don't want to mingle with those who, and I'll get to something here in a second. You don't want to mingle with those who are into drinking alcohol and who are into drugs, because they're going to lead you and attach you to the spirits that attach to them. These these people who are involved drinking are not themselves. They're not themselves. They allow that spirit to consume them. Whether it be the Jezebel spirit, or whether it just be a spirit of doubt, or a vampire spirit, or a shapeshifter spirit, whatever it is, that's what you're mingling with. So you pick up a woman or a man from a bar, you take them home with you, you're just mingling with spirits. You're just mingling with spirits, that vampire energy, and they're just sucking you dry. When you're dealing with sexual energy, right? You get sexually connected with someone, right? You're doing an energy exchange, and you're allowing your energy to flow out. You're allowing the energy to flow out, and it's just feeding these spirits, and it's draining you. And when it's draining you, that's where you become more open up to these diseases. These diseases, they're not just physical diseases, whether it be STD, HIV, or some kind of other virus or parasite. It's spiritually. You're getting spiritual parasites attached to you, and then those spiritual parasites become into a physical form of STDs, HIV, tumors, cancers, whatever it is. It is a parasite, a spiritual parasite that is making a physical presence. When you get tumors and parasites, and they become into a physical state of being, that's not a good thing. It's not. And it's not to scare you, it's just to prepare you, as well as food you eat and things like that. There's a lot involved with the stuff that drains out the energy that you have, the energy that you have within you. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what you eat. All you should be putting in your body is natural stuff. Read the ingredients. If you're eating broccoli, the ingredients should just be broccoli. If it says broccoli and some other crap attached to it, that's probably not good for you. Same with noodles, or say spaghetti sauce, for example. Spaghetti sauce is a good example. You would think that it would be very self-explanatory in how to create spaghetti sauce. It's just tomatoes and, just added flavor, whether it be garlic or herbs or something like that. But when they add high fructose corn syrup in it, and they add added preservatives and things like that, it doesn't need to be in there. So you have to pay attention to that. So you pay attention to what you eat. Don't look at the price tag. And you can eat healthy with a good price tag on it. I get a lot of my like I buy frozen green beans, and I buy frozen fruit and stuff. I buy them frozen because for one, it's cheaper, and two, it doesn't have all of that other crap that's involved on it. Because with raw food, when you're buying it into a retail chain, right? A retail chain, it's handled a lot. There's a lot of chemicals that's on it. And it gets real deep, it does. But at the end of the day, there's ways to eat healthy and eat cheap. So yeah, so let me get back to energy. But as a whole, what you put in your body affects you and affects your energy. I talked about eating animals as well. Eating animals affects your body too. Because for one, we don't need flesh inside our body. We're already a flesh being. Why are we eating flesh? We're getting second-hand vitamins and minerals from the animal, because cows eat good, pigs eat good, and what do they eat? They eat grass, they eat fruits, they eat veggies. They're eating good, man. They're eating good. They're strong, healthy animals. But that's all we're getting is second-hand food. That's how we need to be eating. That's how you should be eating. You know, in the morning, depending on your body type, um, you can wake up early in the morning, make a smoothie, drink a smoothie, or like myself, I have to eat cereal, but eat good cereal, grain cereal. You know, I eat a grain cereal to start my day. And then at lunch, eat the biggest bowl of salad you want to eat. You know, put on any kind of fruits and veggies on the salad, but just eat a big bowl of salad. You know, that's your greens. Eat that. And at the end of the day, eat whatever you want. You know, eat whatever you want. You know, a very, you know, try to get out, if you're trying to get rid of meats, you know, try to get rid of beef, cow, and pork, pig out of your diet, you know, and just eat chicken and fish to start you off with, chicken and fish. So at the end of the day, you know, you can eat your chicken, you can eat your fish, you can eat potatoes and more veggies, or you know, whatever it is, a nice hearty meal you can end your day. Kidney beans, chickpeas, whatever it is, you can eat a hearty meal at the end of the day, because you're drained. You know, if you went through a hard day's work, you're going to be drained. So eat something that's nice and solid for the end of your meal, and then it begins a cycle again. So we have to learn on how this works. You know, what you're putting in your body. You know, when you're putting flesh in your body, you're gaining spirits too. So that's going to affect your light energy, your light energy. So let's talk about energy. So why am I talking about energy, and why is it so important to keep your filled up and keep your, you know, doing energy work, doing energy work? This gets so deep. So when you become aware of energy and you become aware of what's going on outside this reality, because like I said, life is more spiritual than it is physical. Your physical reality is the false light, right? There's so many things that can distract us. So many things that can distract us. You know, and I'm not saying, you know, you can't go out and have fun. I've said this before. If you like to go play sports, play sports. If you like to play video games, play some video games. If you like to read, you know, whether it be comic books or the Bible, or, you know, even looking at more spiritual teachings and books, go ahead and do that. But don't attach yourself to it. Don't consume yourself to it. So many people get so consumed in video games and sports and books that they lose their spiritual energy. They lose their spiritual energy because they're sending attachments to it. You know, it's okay to have fun, but don't be consumed by it. And this is very important, because at the end of the day, when you leave this body, you have so many attachments to this world, you're not going to have enough energy to pierce through the heavens. And I've talked about this before. You're not going to have enough energy to pierce through the heavens, let alone you're not going to be fully self-aware of what's going on when you pass through. It gets real deep. It does. It does. So this is the whole point of doing energy work, and why uh, religion tells you to stay away from witches and warlocks. And you have to practice this stuff with yourself. Don't get involved with occults that have lots of people that do magic and that are witches and things of that nature. You need to do it with yourself. Okay, you need to do it with yourself. You need to figure out what these rituals are within yourself, because this is so very important. If you involve yourself with witches and warlocks, you are going to get swallowed up by all these spirits, because like I said, you know, you're working with spirits daily. And if you're involved with 20 people, 30 people, so on and so forth, your energy is getting drained to these spirits. You're unaware of what's going on. So you need to be in that sacred place and learn on how to harness your energy. On so many levels. And that's where the I am takes place, and that's where praying and meditation takes place. You got to learn how to discern spirits. You got to learn how to work with the spirits, and praying is talking with Christ and talking with the Most Higher God. Meditation is walking with Christ, walking with the spirits and the Most Highs, because you're using your third eye to learn on how this energy stuff works, to harness that energy, to harness that light that's flowing within you, and raise it up within you. Raise it up within you. And it's starting to get real difficult to talk about this, but that's where you have to boost that chi energy up and keep the energy flowing within you, because you're getting ready. You're getting ready for that next step, to become a light being of the world, to become a light being of yourself. We're in a cocoon. We're in a cocoon, and we have to burst out and become a butterfly. And it gets real deep, and it's something that I'm learning too. It's something that I'm learning too, because when you're flowing with so much energy, what's the next step, right? And you can look into the Merkaba, you can look into the light activation codes, right? You can look into the chakra points, and you learn about all of these ways on how energy works, right? We're learning how to move up. The energy moves upwards. It doesn't move down. It moves up. It moves up because we have to start from the ground, our roots, our feet, and move upwards. Move upwards. Hey, how's it going, Sophia? With the energy. And it works that way because that's how we build upon through our chakra points. And I've said 90% of people who are spiritually dead only live by the sexual preference of themselves, the genital area, right? That's where people live at, in the butt area and in the genital area. That's where people are living by the sexual preference, sexual confusion, and they will go into the fourth dimension, your energy source, and they don't know how to spiral up into that 9. They need to spiral into the 9. They're constantly living in that 6 energy, that sex energy. They're just spiraling in that fourth dimension of energy, and they're just spiraling back down to the root constantly. They're just spiraling back down. They don't know how to pierce through to the other layers. That's why a lot of New Age people talk about the fourth dimension, that we're going through the fourth dimension, dealing with the spirits, learning how the spirits work. And people don't know how to move past that, because that involves meditation and praying. Meditation, praying, and energy work. It gets real deep, man. It really does. So let's go ahead and read some comments, and we'll talk about scriptures. It's so hard to talk about this stuff. That's why I was trying to really figure out on how to express this. But at the end of the day, you have to learn on how energy works. And when you deal with energy, you deal with magic. And when you deal with magic, you deal with the spirits. And when you deal with the spirits, then you have to use the power of discernment. So it gets real deep. And it's something that you don't need to be scared about. Well, what are you talking about magic, Adam? Magic is evil. Magic can consume you. But we're dealing with magic daily, unawareingly, because we're dealing with spirits. Like I talked about. You talk to one person, they can have 10 spirits attached to you. And those spirits will try to connect to you as well. And when you feel that pressure point of, anxiety or self-doubt or something like that, you have to send that spirit back. Send a silent prayer. When I talk to people, when I feel a sense of different kind of energies, you have to send a silent prayer back to these spirits. Say, hey, spirit, teach this person how to heal. Teach this person how to forgive. Teach this person that your spirit is with them. Your spirit is with them. And then this involves shadow beings and other elements within their daily lives as well. It gets so deep because we're not taught this stuff. This is what we should have been taught in school. Straight up. We should have been taught about spiritual development. Spiritual development has to deal with spirits, has to deal with it, with our soul. This has to deal with what the Christ energy is. What is that Christ energy? It has nothing to do with religion. It is a part of us. It is that source and that foundation to the Most Highs. What's talked about in the Bible. We cannot get to the Most High without the Son. Without the Son, right? The Son of the Most Highs. Well, what is that? Well, we are the children of the Most High, right? We're the children of the Most High. We're the children of Israel, the children of the Most High. So we're already connected. We are the sons and daughters of the Most High. And that's it. Our soul is the son and daughters of the Most High. Whether we want to view it as we're the fallen ones or whether we want to view it as the chosen ones, right? It goes on so many layers. But as a whole, there is a divine spark within us. We have a connection to the Most High, period. As soon as we gain this body, we still have that connection to the Most High. But we have to go through this illusion and test to see if we can continue that connection with the Most High. We never lose that connection. We choose to lose that connection. We choose to shut the door to the Most High. We choose to shut the door with that Christ energy within us because of our own selfish ego, our own selfish sin. Sin is ego now. Sin in this modern time is ego. Selfish pride, selfish desires. I want to live the way I want to live. My truth is my only truth. I don't care what other people are saying. I want to do what I want to do, right? That's selfish desires. That's selfish desires. That's surrendering to the world. That is surrendering to the world. Spitting upon your Creator. Spitting upon your mother, your divine mother and father that brought you life. It gets deep. You tell someone that, man, they're going to spit in your face. Why? Because they're full of ego. They're full of pride. And we all have to admit, we have to surrender that we have been involved and raised through ego. Very rare you're going to find someone who has a pure soul, who has a divine pure soul, right? There are those who are chosen who have, man, this video is getting deep. There is these souls that are chosen to help rise people up, But we have to go through hell, literally, within ourselves. We have to learn on what hell is. Earth itself is hell. If you sit down and just view the world for, just spend one day just observing the world, you will realize that this world is hell right now. This world is hell. This world is dying. Animals are dying. The water's disappearing. Everything is poison. The food is poison. Our children are being vaccinated, right? The shots of the vaccinations are poison. We're living in a world of poison, starvation, battles all over the place, the dividing of states, the dividing of spirituality, the dividing of cultures, um, uh, the dividing of we can't live amongst each other, the dividing of the color of our skin. I mean, the dividing of the color of our skin, cults, rituals, um, sacred elements, um, and then we got, uh, man, it just gets so deep, dude. But just sit down and you'll see that this world we're living in currently is hell, is hell. You know, we can bring heaven to this world, but we cannot create heaven amongst a world that is run by that Satan energy, or that prince of air. This is Satan's domain. This is Satan's domain. And as hard as that is to grasp, we have to come to that realization. So when we come to that realization that this is Satan's domain, and if you look into on how every, was it 26,000 years or something like that, we enter into an age, an end of an age, not the end of the world, an end of an age, where that divine energy gets pulled down from the chosen ones, and then that gateway opens up for those few. That gateway opens up for those few that have been stuck here for thousands and thousands of years, that have been stuck in hell for thousands and thousands of years, and they're unaware of it. And we have to come to that realization that, no matter what we do, and people are always talking about on how we're going to build a new Jerusalem, or how we're going to build, how heaven's going to come, that earth is going to become heaven, right? Earth's going to become heaven. Or Christ is going to come down and create heaven down here. That's not the goal here. That's not the goal here, right? When the chosen one come down here and we bring heaven to earth, that doorway's only open for so long. That doorway's only open for so long, and then this is Satan's domain again. Why is this? Why? And this is what I was talking about, on how so many people get confused with God's love. Well, if God truly loved me, why was I raised in a home where my dad abused me? Why was I raised in a home where my parents left me and I had to go from home to home to home? Why was I raised in a home that we had to scrape for food, that I had to go to store and steal from people to bring food to my starving brothers and sisters? Why was I raised like this? If God truly loved me, He would not allow me to be raised in this kind of home, right? To be raised in this kind of home. So we have to come to this realization that, this is Satan's home. And we have to learn to rise up. We can either be consumed by what we went through as a child, or we can utilize that tool and rise up. Say, hey, I was abused in my home, but I chose not to be a victim of it. I chose to rise up and talk to the people who go through this same stuff too. Kids are abused daily. Kids starve daily. Kids are being put in foster care and jump into one house to another, and that's their foundation. So they can choose to be a victim, or they can choose to help people, help children get on that right path, And what is that right path? It's going to involve spirituality. It's going to involve Christ. It's going to involve personal relationship with the Most High. It's going to involve that, and religion is one tool that is used. But we're going to have to continue forward past religion and to get on that personal level with that walk with Christ, with that walk with the Most High. And that's through praying and meditation. That I am, right? That I am. Going back into that sacred place. And that's what we should have been taught in the first place, right? So we have to be mature in the manner that is what this earth is. This earth is a school. This earth is a school to test the souls, to see if we're strong enough to pierce through the heavens again. And that involves energy, and that involves enough energy to pierce through these heavens. We're piercing through the heavens, just working within ourselves, right? Within ourselves. But it gets on so many different layers there. Excuse me. So, and that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at, is to raise the energy within us. We get so distracted, especially when we have kids and we're married and all that, right? I'm married, I got 2 kids, I work a 40-hour job, a 40 hours in a week job. So there's a lot going on. Plus, I try to make videos and share out these experiences with you guys as well. It gets real busy. Our life can become in a chaotic state. And if you don't create that balance, get into that sacred place daily, whether it be praying, meditation, energy work, so important. Your energy is going to drain and deplete. And that's where you have to really listen to the spirits. When the spirits say, hey man, you need to take some days off. You need to rest, you need to reflect, and you need to get a new start, replenish the energy. And then you'll get new revelations within your life. It's so very important to come to these realizations. It really is. So yeah, let me go ahead and read some of these comments. And we'll go ahead and read some scriptures. And we'll go from there. So let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. Talea says, once I communicated telepathically with 3 spirits, very curious of our reality. But at one point I had to disconnect and say goodbye because I sensed physically draining. I needed sleep. Yes, and that is a very good point. And that's what I talked about too. These spirits will attach to you because they want to learn more. They become disciples in some ways, but they can also become parasites too. So when you communicate with these spirits, keep your shield up. Man. Definitely keep your shield up. And that was a good encounter for you, Talea, because you learned the power of discerning spirits, and you didn't fall victim to these spirits, because a lot of times that's what these New Age people fall victim to and teach the people. Oh, I talked to the Arcturians, I talked to the Pleiadians, I talked to the Galactic Federation of Light. Allow these spirits to communicate with you. They're going to speak good truth. They're going to speak about this divine purpose, this divine energy, so on and so forth. When they allow these spirits to communicate. A lot of these New Age people talk about, well, these are my higher selves. My higher selves are Arcturian, or my higher selves are Pleiadian. Things of that nature. Right? This is legit stuff, man. It really is. But what happens is that these New Age people don't realize that they're spirits too. They can lie to you. They can deceive you. But these New Age people would be like, oh no, they're from the higher dimensions. Divine love, divine essence. There's no way that they could have that power of deceiving the people. They're true beings of light. There's no way that they could deceive you. And that's where they're deceiving you. Don't take the words of a human literally. Don't allow a human to guide you literally, right? And that's what I've talked about with myself. Don't use this person out of Starseed Bey as your guiding light, as your guiding light. You can walk beside me, we can learn from each other and continue on your journey. Continue on your journey. And I'm very straightforward with that. I make sure you guys are well aware. Don't trust my words. Don't trust my words. That's why I always say, go within yourself. Look within yourself. Learn about the spirits within yourself, the power of discerning the spirits. All I am is a voice for you to go back into yourself. That's my goal, is to guide you back to the source, your foundation in your life, that Christ energy, getting connected back to the Most Highs, period. And that's what anybody should guide you back to. When somebody says, "Hey, how's it going, Rain?" When these light workers, right, these perceived light workers, or New Age people say, "Hey, I bring these guided words from the Galactic Federation of Light or Archangel Michael or things of that nature," they're lying to you. They're lying to you. When I talk to you and I bring out these messages of, hey, I feel the Christ energy waking up with people. I feel an emergence of what the love of the Most High is, or what God is. I feel an emergence being brought to the world. That's all I bring to the table. I'm not going to say, well, Archangel told me this today, or a Palladian told me this today. No. The only source that anybody should be talking to is that Christ energy and the source from the Most Highs, period. And the only kind of information they should be teaching you is to go back within yourself, period. We're not, like I said, we're not creating heaven on earth. We're bringing heaven to earth to help the souls here to go back to the Most High again, period. And that's where a lot of distractions will be unfolding. We could be seeing a sci-fi movie, unfolding on this planet Earth to distract you. Oh, look at all these ships in the sky, man. Look at all these beautiful beings. They're welcoming us. They're going to come and save us. They're going to put us on the ships while this world gets destroyed, and then they're going to send us back down so then we can begin anew again. There's so many distractions that can unfold, and there's so many hints that there's going to be some kind of being that's going to descend onto the earth that's going to deceive the people. I am the Mashiach, or I am the Mashiach. I am the Messiah for this world, right? I'm the Messiah for this world. The elite leads you to this realization, and the elite will also deceive you. They'll say, well, we're going to create a one world religion. Well, there is a one world religion, right? There is a one world religion. There is a spiritual realization. There is one source, Christ energy, connection to the Most High. We're the children of the Most High. That is the main thing right there. That is that guiding tool, right? The world will deceive you. The world wants you to hate that Mashiach energy. The world wants to allow you to hate that Christ energy. That's why there is a realization that that they don't talk about Christ. They treat Christ as some kind of a spirit, right? That is separate from us. They treat Christ as the man that walked among the earth, right? And what was the teachings of Christ? If you read anything in the Bible, you read the teachings, or you read the birth of Christ and the death of Christ. And Christ will tell you, the human doctrines will deceive you. Do not listen to the ways of the world. It will deceive you. Go into the I am, right? I am that I am. Go inside yourself. I am the way, truth, and life. No one goes to the Most Highs except through me. Going back within self. Praying, meditation. Christ meditated, right? Christ meditated. Christ used the lamp of the body, the third eye. He taught his disciples these sacred techniques. These techniques to get into that sacred place. And that's what we should have been taught in school, and we weren't. It gets so deep, man. It gets so deep. So at the end of the day, listen to the information that is being brought out to you. It is if it is not from, if these people are not teaching you to go back within you, discern them. Discern them. If they're not teaching you on how to connect better with the Most Highs, discern them. Discern them. They're lost. They're confused. Do they have good info? Oh, heck yeah, man. Is there partial truth in it? Oh yeah, definitely. But they're creating their image as a host, as a perceived divine host for you, right? For you. And and some of these New Age people will be like, oh yeah, come on, we're gonna wait for these people to come in. Come on, come in here. So then, you can listen to some good stuff. So you can listen to some good stuff about what these spirits are doing. I talk with all these fairies, and all this, all this stuff that's outside self. All this stuff that's outside self. But they don't teach you to go within. And it to me, and all honestly, to me, it makes me think that they're fearful. That they're fearful to talk about this Mashiach energy, this anointing energy, being anointed within that divine spirit again. It really feels like they're fearful because they fear that they're going to be labeled as religious, or some kind of religious dogma. They can't look past it. They have not reached that level of maturity to move past that element. It's okay to talk about Christ, talk about Mashiach, and learn about that divine love. When you hear people, when they give their life to Christ, and it goes on so many levels, and this is the only way I can really talk about it. When you feel that cup overflow through you, when people who give their life to that Mashiach energy, they feel that sense of purification. They feel that sense of cleanliness. They feel that burden just uplift them. They feel all those spirits be uplifted off of them, and they feel anew again. They feel the state of anew again, the state of a newness to them. And that's what we all should be feeling. That's what we should be feeling, is that anointing of the Holy Spirit within us. And that's it. That's it. Real simple. I talk about the complexity of things, but as a whole, that it's so simple. It's so simple, and it's so frustrating at the same time. Because, these New Age people refuse to acknowledge this divine energy within. And they will also twist it and say it's a divine love. It's a divine love. Why are so many people scared to talk about this Mashiach energy, right? Our ancestors talked about the Mashiach energy, right? Our ancestors talked about the Merkaba. Our ancestors talked about the serpent. The serpent. And religion will teach you that the serpent was evil. But if you read through the Bible, the serpent is connected to knowledge and wisdom. And religion does not want you to think for yourself or become mature in the spirit, become mature. They want you to be followers of a belief, followers of a belief. They don't want you to become mature. And that's what the serpent is. The serpent is knowledge and wisdom. And there is two paths that you can choose. You can be deceived by the serpent, right? Because the serpent can be slithery and talk real nice and lead you on a false knowledge and wisdom, which would be religion, which would be the New Age concept, which would be these perceived Galactic Federation of Light type scenarios, right? False knowledge and wisdom. And there's true knowledge and wisdom, which is that maturity of the spirit, learning what this Mashiach energy is, learning how to connect with the Most Highs again, with God again, right? And it's a knowledge and wisdom there. We have to gain some kind of knowledge and wisdom, or we're going to be led astray. We're not going to learn. We're not going to grow spiritually or in this life, right? So when the church tells you that the serpent is evil, they're denying you a sense of maturity within the spirit, a maturity of self-growth. They don't want you to go on that path, right? They don't want you to go on that path. And it confuses the people. Again, we live in Babylon. Translates, the Hebrew word is Babel, which translates into a state of confusion. A state of confusion. And it's crazy, man. It really is. And man, this is some real talk right here. And this is where it's up to you, the viewer, to take care of yourself, to love yourself, to learn more about yourself, to heal yourself, to forgive yourself, to learn the power of surrender. Again, that's something that churches don't talk about. That's something that the New Agers don't talk about. Light workers don't talk about. The power of surrender. What are you surrendering to? What are you surrendering to? Again, these New Age light workers, they surrender to the spirits. They surrender to the spirits. And what happens to that? That's what Talea said. She talked with these three spirits. She learned that they were draining their energy. They fell victim to these spirits. They were the deceptive serpents that talked beautiful, but they were the false lights draining your energy. Man, where was I going with this? So, we have to become aware that you need to take care of yourself. And that's where I was going with this. Take care of yourself. The power of surrender. You're either going to surrender to these other spirits that will lead you astray and drain you and suck you dry, or you can surrender to home. Surrender to home. I'm getting goosebumps. Surrender to home. To that Mashiach energy within. That divine source that you were born with. You're a children of the Most High. Period. You're children of the Most High. Period. And you have a connection with the Most Highs. Always. Connecting home. Connecting home. That's where a lot of the church will deceive you in thinking that we need this great Armageddon to happen, all this destruction and gloom and doom to happen so we can go back home. You can go home now. You're in home now. That doorway of home is here. Don't be such in a rush to go home. If you're a person that believes that some kind of event happens to go home, you're wasting your life away. You have been. It is an honor. It is an honor to have a vessel. So many souls yearn And maybe this is a deception too. I don't know. But I do know that so many spirits yearn for a vessel to create in, to manifest stuff, um, to have a part of creation. Um, it gets really deep. It does. And it leads me to another thing that I probably just need to make a separate video on, is that once we're in a body, and Christ is a good example. It says in the Bible that his human body disappeared. So are we allowed to, and even the Buddhists talk about this, are we allowed to use this vessel to pierce through the heavens? To pierce through the heavens. I don't know. That's something that gets real deep. But the message for this video is to come back home. To learn about that Mashiach energy within you. Within you. And it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not some religion, church, mumbo jumbo. It's what you already have. It's you. You're denying yourself. You're denying yourself. You have to surrender. You have to let go of that ego. You have to let go of that pride. Don't worry if you lose friends. If you lose friends because you're going on a path that makes your life better, then that's their loss. That's their loss, because they should be encouraging you. They should be encouraging you on your path. I encourage people to look into spirituality, right? I encourage people to look into a divine source, to not limit themselves. I'm very vocal about that. Never limit yourself. Constantly learn and grow daily. Learn and grow daily. Never stop on a certain belief. Never stop on some kind of foundation that works for you. Okay? The only foundation that should be a go home to place is that Mashiach, that Christ energy within. But continue to experience and expand. That Mashiach energy is going to guide you into certain paths and situations. I was talking on Michael Basham's podcast, and there was a amazing person that was on there. I don't know his name offhand, but what he does is he goes into the most dirtiest, crime-oriented areas, right? That has to do with, like, gangs and drugs and all that stuff. He goes into the most dirtiest areas because he knows that's where Christ will be the most impactful. He is surrendering and trusting in Christ. That message will be delivered to them. Because those who are into gangs and into that dark state of living, that is something that will swallow and consume you. But that's where the light needs to be shined, in that kind of darkness, and that takes a lot of faith and a lot of courage to go into those kind of situations. But it's bringing that spark from heaven. It's planting those seeds to those people. Is there a chance that you might lose your life? There is. However, if you fully surrender yourself to Christ, not a hair on your head will be harmed, right? Not a hair on your head will be harmed, because you're there spreading that true light to Christ, that true light of Christ to them. It gets deep. All right, so I've been talking for like an hour and 14 minutes, man. It gets so deep, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and read some scriptures here, because I really feel I need to read these, and then we'll go ahead and close this out. So these scriptures involve being a light to the world. Like I said, we have that divine light within us. A lot of us are chosen to help rise these people up, out of hell. Literally rise these people up out of hell. And then after that, we have to send them on our way. And they have to continue to utilize that light that started and continue to grow within that light, within that Mashiach energy, and continue from there. So yeah, some very beautiful stuff. All right, so Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city sits on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to the Most High, who is in the heavens. Who is in the heavens. And that's where we need to come to the realization that we can't harness this light. We can't be selfish and keep this light to ourselves. We have to let this light shine to others. Speak that good news, right? Speak that good news to the world. So very important. That's why I always tell people, share your testimonies, share your experiences, share your beliefs and truths with the world, because they're going to learn from you. And if it's a guiding light that brings them back to Christ or that Mashiach energy, that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing thing. You plant a seed of light in their life, and you were a part of that. You were a part of that, and that's beautiful, man. John 8:12. Again, Christ spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Will have the light of life. Right? And that's where Christ again said, go within. I am. Go within. And you will not be swallowed in the darkness anymore. You will see that light spark within you. Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to the Most High, who dwell within the heavens. Acts 13:47. For so the Most High has commanded us, saying, I have made you a light for the world, that you may bring salvation to the ends of the earth. Man, beautiful stuff, man. 1 Peter 2:9. But you are a chosen... Oh, I ain't going to read this one. This one has something separate to say, so I ain't going to read that one. Let's see. Light 8:16. No one, after lighting a lamp, covers it with a jar or puts it under a bed, but puts it on a stand so that those who enter may see that light. Express yourself. That's what it means. Express yourself. Let people know the love that you have for the Mashiach energy, right? Let people know. Don't feed it down their throats, but let them know, hey, why are you so happy all the time, Adam? Why does it feel like there's a sun glow within you? Explain to them what you do in your life. Say, hey, I follow my heart. I follow that Christ energy within me. That's my guiding, that's my foundation. I have, that's my guiding force. That's what has gotten me to where I am. I would be nothing without that guiding light of Christ. And just express it to them. They'll either not be friends with you, or they'll be like, oh wow, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that beautiful message. And it's so very important not to be ashamed, right? I'm not ashamed to speak the name of Christ. I'm not ashamed to speak the name of Christ. That's so very important. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. And that's what I was talking about with light workers and New Age people. They feel ashamed. They feel if they talk about Christ that they're going to be ashamed. So, something to think about. Ephesians 5:8. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are the light of the Most High. Walk as children of light. Walk as children of light. Beautiful, man. Walk as children of the Most High. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. It's just another form of that. John 1:5. This is a message we have heard from him and proclaimed to him, that the Most High is light, or Christ is the light, and in him is no darkness at all. In him there is no darkness. You will be fully aware of what's going on. We have to travel into darkness to discover that light, and that's so very important. But we have to have a guiding light. We have to have a flashlight. If you're in a dark place, right? In the mountain, say you're in the mountains, right? In a forest. Well, you don't want to be in the forest in the dark. You never know if there's going to be a wolf or a bear. You want to have some kind of guiding light in your life. So carry that flashlight. Christ is that flashlight for you. So then you can kind of prepare yourself. You can see and move that light of where you need to go. Be that guiding light within your life, right? Beautiful, man. Let's see, Proverbs 6:23. For the commandments is a lamp, and the teaching a light, and the reproofs of discipline are the ways of life. And that's so very important. We have to learn about discipline and maturity in our life. We have to mature in our lives. We can't be rebellious teenagers. And I've talked about this before. I met adults who are in their 50s and 60s who think that they're still teenagers, going to parties, drinking, and doing drugs. And then their children are sitting at home becoming like their parents. It's sad, man. It's sad. So we have to create discipline. What are the commandments? What are the commandments, right? Look into the laws of my yacht. Read up on my yacht. That is a beautiful foundation, right? We got the 10 commandments. We do. And it definitely gives us a foundation of some 10 elements that we should be adding to our life. But also look into my yacht and the disciplines of my yacht. The laws, the roots of my yacht. You'll learn a lot about that as well. Let's see, Isaiah 42:6. I am the Christ, or I am the Most High. I have called you in righteousness, right? Christ, that Mashiach, calls you into righteousness. I will take you by the hand, and keep you. I will give you as a covenant for the people, a light for the nations, a light for the nations. That Mashiach energy will bring out that promise that our ancestors talked about, right? Our ancestors talked about this Messiah that would lead the nations, that would light up the nations, right? We are those messengers. We are those messengers of light for the nations that are corrupt, that are deceptive, deceit, lies to you. We're learning about that now. We're learning on how all these nations are lying to us, are deceiving us, are swallowed up in human doctrine that are leading you astray from the light within you, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here in just a second. Psalm 119:105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And I'm going to go ahead and end it on that. Again, Psalms 119:105. Your word is a lamp to my feet, the roots of your life, and a light to my path. We start from the root. And we work our way up. We have to light our body up out of the darkness, right? And that's what I was saying, is that we have to light up our whole being. We have to go through a whole trial and tribulations of judgment, persecution, and all this crap. We have angels and demons fighting in our body. So we have to conquer and balance out those angels and demons. Say Moses, for example, how he divided the waters, right? Divided the angels and the demons, the light and the dark, right? And what's the symbolism of that, right? He was able to lead and guide the people through that balanced state, right? We had chaos, man. Could you imagine, right? Could you imagine seeing that in real life? Seeing the oceans part ways, thousands and thousands of feet of water on both sides, right? And at any given moment, those waters could collapse and squish you. But by your faith and by that guiding of the Mashiach energy, um, you do not fear. You do not fear. You know you're on this path and that those waters will not crush you. Those waters will stay divided as you walk upon that narrow path. And Christ will lead you to the other side. And once you reach the other side, you truly know that you surrendered. You surrendered, right? You surrendered to that Christ. You trusted in Christ that he was leading you on that right path. That those waters were not going to cave in on you. Those waters were not going to cave in on you. You kept going. So as you go through these trials and tribulations, it may be looking like that water is going to come and cave in on you, right? Going to cave in on you, or those mountains are going to fall on you. But don't have fear. Put your trust, put your faith in yourself. In yourself, first and foremost. So many people can't even trust themselves, and I had a video about that. Trust in yourself. Trust in yourself that you can make your life better first. And trust in yourself that you can discover the Christ Mashiach energy within you. Come home. Come home. Come home. Open up the doorway again to the Most Highs. Come home. Come to that sacred place. Come to that sacred place. If you have to buy... Give me a second here. If you have to buy a prayer shawl to get home to that sacred place, then buy a prayer shawl, man. Come home. Come home. And that's what the spirits are telling me right now. It's time to come home, man. No fear. No fear. No fear, man. Come home. If you haven't prayed or meditated for a long time, come home. If you haven't opened up your Bible in a long time because you've lost your faith and trust in God and Christ, read Mark again, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Start with Matthew. Read the life of Christ. Come home. The power of forgiveness. Pray, meditate, come home. Man, it's just time to come home, man. It's just time to come home. It's time to bring that light back into your life. It's time to learn to start trusting yourself again. Quit focusing so much on what other people think about you. What so many people think about you. Quit trying to generate all these friends within your life or trying to please other people. Come home. Don't have fear you're going to lose friends or family and other elements. Come home. It's time to come home. And that's all that the spirits are relating to me right now. It's just time to come home. Time to come home. So I'm going to lead this out in a prayer, and then we'll go ahead and end this out. So for those who have stuck out with me through this video, it's time to come home. I pray to you, Mashiach. Pray to the Most Highs that you will guide them, that you will allow that seed to grow within them again, and that you will guide them to you, Lord, and that you will shine that light of faith again within them, and that you will shine that light of hope within them, that they can learn to not only trust in them, but they can learn to trust in you, that you'll be that guiding light for them again. And Lord, I pray that you will shine that light on them again, that they will open that door to you again, so that they will feel that love and light from you, Lord, from you, Christ, that you will open up that doorway again to the Most Highs, to God. That connection will be restored to them now. Restored to them now. And that they will realize that the home that they want to, that they're searching for, has always been within them now. Been within them now, Lord. And I pray that you will guide them now. That you will guide them home. Woo! And that you will light the fire. That you will light the fire again within them now. You will light the fire within them now, Lord. And for anyone who wants to return back to Christ, just right now, just say, hey, I surrender my life to you again, Christ. Or I surrender to you now. I give my life back to you now, Christ. I give mine back to you, Lord. I give my life back to you, Lord. I surrender now. Guide me, protect me, and lead me on that path right now, Lord. Allow that tree to grow within them now, Lord. The power of surrender. Surrender now. Surrender now. Allow Christ to be that guiding light within your life again. Within your guiding light again. And I pray now, Lord, and thank you, Lord, for not forsaking us, or for not losing hope within us, for that's an illusion. That is fear. For your love, for your divine love has never left us. Your love has never forsaken us, and it's always been there. It's always been there. We just had to open up that doorway to you, Lord. Open up that doorway and keep that doorway open with you, Lord. So I thank you in the name of the Mashiach Christ. Amen. Amen. Whew. Whew. Powerful, man. Powerful. So yeah, it's time to come home. It's time to surrender to that energy. Like I said, if you got to buy a prayer shawl, you find one on Amazon. Real cheap, man. Well, it's time to come home. It's time to... Sophia says here, you should listen to Bob Marley. Heck yeah, man. Bob Marley was awesome, man. He was definitely revolutionary at that time. But yeah, it's time to come home, man. It's time to get back to that sacred place. It's time to come home. And discover that Christ within you again. To open up that doorway to the Most Highs again. It's never been closed. You chose to close it. And now it's time to come home again. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and leave it with that. Love yourself. Keep shining bright. Trust in yourself. And come home. Pray, meditate every day. Come home. If you got any questions, concerns, let me know. I do have some classes. Just creating that spiritual balance again. So it is open there for you guys if you're interested. And I got some info on my public site if you are interested, or if you just need a prayer. Just give me a call. Say, hey, Adam, can you pray for me? You just send me a message. Say, hey, can you pray for me? And I'll just send out a voice message to you praying for you, okay? So if you just see prayer, just let me know. So yeah, so love yourself. Keep shining bright. And I'll talk to you all later. Thank you all for joining me in the chat room. I definitely appreciate it. Because without you guys, people wouldn't be able to hear this message. So it's up to you guys to share this out. And you guys are the light of the world as well. So make videos. Share out your testimonies. Send that light out to the world as well. Because you are all very important as well. Never forget that. You are just as important. We're all children of the Most High. So yeah. So love yourself, kiss your bright. I'll talk to you guys later.